In reading all the documentation, it indicated that you really lack remorse.
I felt empty.
How do you feel now about what you've done?
It's grotesque. It's absolutely horrible. It's very difficult for me to live with the fact that I could do anything so horrible and so horrendous. Because that is not who I am. That is not what I believe in. I have always felt that things should be treated with gentleness, tenderness, and love. Because that's the most lacking thing that I have found in my life and in most people's lives. I've never tried to create something that was ugly. And that's what came out of me. So I try every day, the best I can, to deal with it. Every day of my life, I try to define to myself that I have a little bit of self-worth. Because it is terribly difficult to deal with this on a minute-by-minute basis. Because I feel terrible about it, but I cannot change it. No matter what I do, I cannot change 1 minute of my life. And as I said before, I don't expect the board to say that I can go home. I am paying for this as best as I can. There is nothing more I can do outside of being dead to pay for this, and I know that's what you wish. But I cannot take my own life.
Chris, please.
I'm sorry.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Ms. Krenwinkel, why don't you take a second and compose yourself?
Krenwinkel, I think a lot of her tears are crocodile tears. I've known her too long. I don't believe her remorse. I think that she's sorry because she got caught.
I've known Pat 10 years. I've talked to her. She's never broken down like that. It was so emotional that you don't get those emotions unless they're deep within you. And that has to be the truest show of what she was really feeling that I've ever seen. And how dare he say, oh, this is just a big show.
For Stephen Kay, remorse was crucial to any parole.
I think that in our culture, in our society, it's hard for us to understand how human beings can go out and murder other human beings. We look for reasons to try and understand why people can do this sort of thing. And at least if they say they're sorry, we say, oh, gosh, they must have been temporarily insane or something like that. They were not themselves, because look, they're sorry now. They're crying, and isn't that good? And it makes us feel better about ourselves that we can understand how this terrible thing could have taken place.
Remorse, I mean, there is, again, it's like there is no more than saying, I absolutely apologize. I don't know what they want. Do they want a wellspring of continuous tears for 25 years? I live with this every day. When I wake up every day, I am in a cell. I have been removed from the people that I love. Every day I wake up, I know why I'm here. I know that I have done something that has offended the community and the state and people. So I wake up already knowing that somehow I am an offense. That's why I am here.
Patricia Tate insisted Krenwinkel hadn't changed.
Absolutely not. It doesn't matter. She is maybe one of the worst. She willingly participated both nights. She wanted to do what she did. And she went out and did it. And I don't care if she's rehabilitated. I don't care anything about her except for that she should stay in prison for the rest of her living life.
At the hearing, it was Stephen Kay's turn to make his statement to the board. He believed Patricia Krenwinkel should never be released. Having heard her described as a model prisoner, he urged the board to remember the viciousness of the crime she'd committed.
Okay, Mr. Kay.
Thank you. Members of the board, when you are considering whether or not to find Patricia Krenwinkel suitable for parole, I'd urge you to strongly consider what Charles Manson had to say about her. Now, Charles Manson, I think we can all agree, is a despicable human being. However, Charles Manson did live with her on a day-to-day basis over a lengthy period of time.
Excuse me, I really hate to do this to Mr. K because I realize I'm interrupting his final speech here. But it's my understanding that the prosecutor can only limit his comments to the facts that are before this board, the facts that are in the C file. And I think outside comments from anybody, whether it was Mr. Manson or news reports or anything else, are improper for this board.
Mr. Manson said that Miss Krenwinkel was his complete reflection, that she was more like him than any other member of the family. Now, this is kind of a scary thought, isn't it, since we know about other members of the family. Has Patricia Krenwinkel earned your vote for parole suitability due to the fact that she's stayed out of trouble in prison and is now, during the last 2 years, attended AA and NA classes and psychotherapy on a regular basis? I think the answer is definitely no. What she has earned is the right to still be considered as one of the most cold-blooded female murderers in American history. Has she made progress in prison, in the controlled prison setting? I think the answer to that is that she has, especially during the past 2 years when she is finally facing up to her long history of drug dependency. But make no mistake about it, the main reason that Patricia Krenwinkel should be found unsuitable for parole is due to her active participation in 7 of the most vicious, brutal murders in the history of American crime. These were random murders of strangers. These are people, most of these people were innocent people literally butchered in the supposed sanctity of their own homes. And Miss Krenwinkel, of course, was a participant on both nights of murder. Let's look a little bit at her participation. And some of what I'm going to tell you varies a little bit from what she told you today. I'm glad that, Mr. Chairman, you brought out at the end that she was armed with a knife when she left the Spawn Ranch. She was armed with a knife. They were all armed. They knew what was going to happen. This wasn't going to be a burglary or a robbery. Tex Watson had even had training classes for murder at the ranch on how to stab people, that when you stab them, you don't just stab the knife in and pull it out. You pull up on the knife because you can cause more damage.